Us now live from our set in Los Angeles with Bryant McFadden and Pete Prisco. Congratulations on a great season, Mark, but I got to ask you, you just had the Pro Bowl last weekend. How did you not win Pro Bowl MVP?
First of all, great introduction. I appreciate that. No, it was a good experience, the Pro Bowl. It was fun to be able to get around all those guys and hang out, but I think one of these years I'm going to be able to win it.
You caught both of Justin Herbert's 2 touchdown passes, yet he wins the award. You're going to stay soft-spoken about it? No animosity toward Justin?
None at all.
Okay.
I mean, he's a great player, great quarterback. Both those touchdowns I had, I kind of just freelanced them, and he threw the ball great.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mark, let's see how much of a Raven you are. I played in the AFC North, so I understand how that division is a rivalry week in and week out. But how bad do you want to see Cincinnati lose this Sunday in the Super Bowl?
It's tough. You almost want the division to be repped, but at the same time, it's like, man, that's our competition. Exactly. So I want the Rams to win, but it's more so, I've got guys like Eric Weddle on the team that I want to see get a ring. It's one of his last years, and obviously Matthew Stafford, has been in Detroit for so long. I think it'd be awesome to see him get a ring.
Yep.
Obviously Joe Burrow's still young, has a lot of time left, but like you said, that competition in me just doesn't really want them to win.
Yeah, sounds about right.
You had a great individual season, but as a team, you had so much stuff to deal with, including Lamar Jackson getting hurt. How tough was that to play without the guy that really is the guy who gets that offense going?
It was tough, man. It was a tough season for us, and the Raven way, we don't make excuses. We go to work and we try to get better, and we're going to play with whoever we have. And but like you said, Lamar going down at the end of the year, obviously, what he means to that team, the leader, the type of player that he is, and in the locker room. So that was tough for us, but we continue to fight. You saw the last couple of games of the year; we only lost by maybe 1 or 2 points every game. So we're going to go out there, play as hard as we can, and we did. So I'm really proud of the team that we had this year.
The tight end position is always a debate among fantasy players and fans. It was Travis Kelce and George Kittle, and then Ravens fans a couple of years ago started saying, hey, Mark Andrews is definitely a top 3 tight end. And this year, you finished number 1 in several categories. What's it like, trying to play in an era with these maybe the greatest tight ends in football history, and how do you compare yourself to the other guys that are doing it?
Like you said, man, these tight ends nowadays, they're elite of elite, and they're doing it better than anybody has, and I have so much respect for those guys. You talk about the Travis Kelce's, the George Kittles, the Darren Wallers, and Gesicki. There's a bunch of different guys, and they're all rising to the top. We all want to be the best, and I think the great thing about it is we all push each other to be best. And I'm thankful to be a part of an organization like the Ravens. They love their tight ends. The tradition of the tight end is awesome there, and so they've been rooting for me, and I couldn't be happier to be there.
Chris talked about the unbelievable numbers you were able to provide this season with the who's of who at the quarterback position because of the injuries. But how do you plan on sustaining the level of production you were able to give the organization this year, next year, and going forward after that?
Just work. I think in anything in life, if you want production, you want results, you got to work. Mm-hmm. And there's no short of that in Baltimore and with the Ravens. So they've instilled that into me, and that's what I'm going to do. I take my off seasons very seriously. I treat my body right, and I know it's expected, and I know how to get to there again.
Yep.
Okay, I got a bone to pick with you. I'm a Sun Devil. You're from Scottsdale, Arizona.
You gotta make this personal.
He's from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yep.
And he didn't go to school at the greatest school ever at Arizona State.
Okay. In my defense, I loved ASU, loved them a lot, loved Mike Norvell. That was something that was, was tough for me to go see. I visited a bunch of schools, but ASU was in, one of my top 3 schools. But grew up an Oklahoma fan. Grandpa went there. My brother went there at the time, so it's all a boomer sooner for me, baby.
There you go.
Well, that leads me to a question I wanted to ask you. You played for Lincoln Riley. He was your offensive coordinator. He was your head coach. How did you feel about the way he left?
Honestly, I wasn't surprised. That wasn't a surprising move for me. It is what it is. I have nothing against Lincoln Riley, but I'm happy about these new coaches coming in.
The tight end position, we talked about all these great tight ends. 20 years ago, it was almost like, okay, there were the guy who could block, and you might have a guy who could catch.
Yeah.
And now you guys are all combo tight ends. Mm-hmm. How has the position evolved from your standpoint?
I think just, it's expected. If you come in as a receiving tight end and you can't block and you can't, find ways to, make it happen in the run game, you're not going to play much. And especially in a system like Baltimore, we're a very run-heavy offense, and I've been blessed to be able to learn behind guys like Nick Boyle, who to me is like the premier upper echelon of those blocking guys, and I've learned a ton from him. And then Coach Greg Roman has taught me a lot about that. So I'm just trying to be complete. Being a complete tight end is what it's all about. You want to be the best at what you are and what you do, and that's part of the position.
When you look at your division, AFC North, very, very competitive. Had 2 teams get into the postseason this year, and 1 team is playing for the Super Bowl.
Yep.
All the teams in your division, who do you dislike the most and why?
It's got to be the Steelers, man. I think it's got to be the Steelers for sure. No, just because there's history behind it, and when you play in games like that, I've been fortunate to play in the Oklahoma-Texas games,
yep.
and that stuff's real. And my first time playing against the Steelers, I woke up the next day and I was like, this is real. I was like, it's physical.
Yeah.
It's a blood match, and every time you go against them, it's the same thing. It's a healthy respect now.
Yes, sir.
But it's one of those things where when you go into that game, you got to be ready to go.
Yeah, and usually the day after or the first Tuesday, you got to be in the ice tub.
I have to, man. Getting those ice tubs.
Yes,
ice
sir.
up, son, as Steve Smith says.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Time for the Geico 15-second statement. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. 15 seconds or less from Mark Andrews on what you expect to see Sunday in the Super Bowl.
I think it's going to be a great game. Obviously, I think the Bengals offensively are going to be able to move the ball, but to me, I think it comes down to D-line. You think about Aaron Donald, Von Miller. I think this whole playoffs have kind of come down to that. Teams aren't really able to get their offense going because of that, the D-line. So to me, it's the Rams with the D-line.
All right, Mark, congratulations on a great season.
No
What are you going to
question.
do for an encore next season?
We'll see, man. I'm just going to do my best and hopefully get the Super Bowl. Hopefully, you won't be doing one of these.
I can tell you this
Yeah,
much.
right.
I usually don't draft Raven players in fantasy football, but because I didn't draft Mark, I didn't play for a championship. So
Yeah.
I might have to reconsider my whole
Come on,
bias.
man. First pick, baby.
Top fantasy tight end this season. Mark Andrews, the best season for any pass catcher in Ravens history, with us here on HQ. The Ravens 20-1 to win the Super Bowl next season. A lot of teams, 30 of them in fact, already looking ahead to next year. We'll continue looking ahead to Sunday and the Super Bowl when our coverage continues here on CBS Sports HQ.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.